game and I'll be okay. At 10, let's go with Irv Smith Jr. Breakout season on the way? I think so. He caught 5 touchdowns on 30 receptions last year. That's 1 touchdown, guys, for every 6 grabs. I love it. No Kyle Rudolph. We know Kirk Cousins historically likes to target his tight ends, especially in that red zone. And look, he said it himself.
You know, me as a tight end, I'm a faster guy, can move around and do a lot of different things. So he's definitely utilizing me in that aspect, kind of, you know, putting me everywhere on the field, whether it's out wide, in the backfield, with my hand in the dirt, in the slot. So it's crazy just, you know, the things that we can do in this offense and, you know, really interchangeable spots to, you know, get guys the ball and create mismatches.
I think he's a star. I think he's going to break out, and you're going to know his name if you don't already. That was Irv Smith on our show, Irv Smith Jr. on our show just yesterday. Okay, at number 9, let's keep it rolling here. Hit me up at Gmfb with your thoughts. I'll go Noah Fant. Does he put the Fant in fantasy, Kyle? I don't know. 93 targets, though. That was nice last year. Again, that kind of target share, great and rare at the tight end position. Just 3 touchdowns, though. Woof. That's the knock here. Targeted 159 times in his career in 2 years, just 6 total career touchdowns. Will this offense create more scoring opportunities for him after drafting a running back with Sutton on the mend? Schrage saying Jerry Jeudy's going to be a big thing out there in Denver. You're paying for yards after catch here, and you're praying that they get him involved in the red zone. I don't love it, but he is at 9. At 8, Robert Tonyan. Volume a bit lower than some of the other top options at tight end. That's why I have him a little bit lower. You can't deny him and Aaron Rodgers seem to have some yin-yang chemistry thing when it matters. In the gold zone, that's where he thrives. He had a crazy 11 touchdowns, making him the 3rd highest scoring tight end last season. So I'm comfortable with him as a tight end 1. I'm actually probably targeting him in most drafts. I know consistency might not be there that week, you know, week to week, and regression will happen at the touchdown column, but I do like Tonyan. At 7, Mike Gesicki. Contract year. Love players in contract years. Well documented that his quarterback Tua loves him. He talks about him all the time. If Tua takes the leap, and I think he should, I don't see why Gesicki doesn't find himself inside the top 5. He's a huge value, I think, and was the 6th best tight end last year. Top 5 in yards at the position. So to go from that to top 5 isn't a huge jump if Tua can make a leap and be out there doing his thing. So an absolute target for me, and you can get him in like round 10 or 11 potentially in your fantasy league.
Full stud.
Yeah, at 6. Yeah, you like him?
I mean, you saw him in the preseason against the Bears. He looked amazing right out the gates. He looked great.
I love it. All right, at 6, Mark Andrews. We saw major touchdown regression from him in 2020. 4 tight ends, only 4 of them, though, scored more than he did last year, and he only played in 14 games. He had double-digit touchdowns in 2019. I get it. His overall consistency is great. He has had top 5 finishes in back-to-back season. It's his game-to-game that's really inconsistent. I couldn't put him inside the top 5. He had 7 game guys with fewer than 4 fantasy points.
Killing me.
Last year. I personally can't, but I hope he bounces back with, they added weapons. If Rashad Bateman can get out there, does that help him necessarily? I would hope so.
I was down to Baltimore.
Sammy Watkins.
And I watched Lamar throws a different ball when he's throwing to Mark Andrews.
Really?
Yeah.
Better one?
Their relationship, like, I think Lamar just sees the middle of the field better, and he's better in...
But when Lamar has these bad passing games and showings, it's he who suffers from it. So they've really all got to take a step up this year. At 5, Kyle Pitts. A rookie, I know I'm going to get dragged for this immediately because rookie tight ends just don't ball out.
I've never seen one like this before.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you, guys. Different breed, special player, Hall of Famer, blah, blah, blah. We know it. And with no Julio, there's questions on defense. There's honestly a lack of a proven running game in Atlanta. I have all the confidence in the world. It's a perfect setup for Pitts to put up numbers. Off the bat, straight away. Don't overthink it. Out of all of these tight ends, even the top 4, he's got the highest upside of all of them. At 4, TJ Hawkinson. He's on Schrager's breakout list. He's also top 5 for me. He has all the volume. 101 targets last season, top 5 in targets, receptions, receiving yards, yards after catch, and now he's inheriting a former tight end coach taking over as the head guy in Detroit. On 4, though. At 3, The top three, these are the big three. These are the guys that you're saying, ooh, man, maybe I don't want Davante Adams. Maybe I don't want Chris Godwin. I want a tight end instead so I can have that competitive advantage. It's George Kittle. Health is something that I considered here. I was really waffling between him and Darren Waller. He's only played a full season once. The weirdest stat through this entire process of ranking these tight ends to me was that his career touchdown ceiling, the most touchdowns he scored in any season is 5.
Wow.
Just 5 touchdowns. I mean, that goes a really long way in what he does after the catch and what he does with receptions. But now you've got Deebo Samuel there. You've got Brandon Ayuk. They're there. They're healthy. Dual threat Trey Lance comes in. Do those touchdown numbers go up for him, or do they go up for Trey Lance and some of those running backs? You know Shanahan wants to run the ball, so I had to put him at 3. Do I think overall he's the best tight end in the league? I do. But fantasy-wise, he's at 3.
You don't get points for his pancake blocks. That's great, but this is fantasy.
Right.
It's about stats.
We would if it was up to Sean.
He's definitely one of the coolest tight ends, too. So just to have him on your you got to kind of separate that.
That 5 touchdowns was staggering. Okay, at 9 touchdowns last season, more touchdowns the year before that. No tight end has had more targets than Waller. Last year, he had 146. No one had more catches. He had 107. He's in a top 10 offense that has questions on defense. So I would expect more of the same from him in 2021. I think and he's done it in back-to-back years. People are like, oh, Kittle's done it long. No, he's proven that he can do it. The targets, the volume, all of it through the air. And at 1, Travis Kelce. This was easy. Consistency. He's been the best fantasy tight end for the last 5 years, and he hasn't shown any sign of regression. I will say he's turning 32 in a couple of weeks. So I don't know how much longer he stays at this #1 spot, you know. We'll see. But he outscored all but 3 wide receivers, guys, that last year, finishing ahead of DeAndre Hopkins. He finished ahead of Calvin Ridley. This is the decision you're going to have to make if you've got that 11th overall pick in a 12-team league. Do I take Davante Adams? Do I take, I don't even know, Saquon Barkley, who might be there? Stephon Diggs, of course. Or do I decide to take Kelce and have that edge? The difference, guys, the difference in guys, as we take a look at the list of my top 12 tight ends, the difference between a guy like Darren Waller, who had such a nice finish last year, he had like 278 fantasy points, right? And you cut that in half, but then once you get to that second tier, the TJ Hawkinsons, the Kyle Pitts, the Mark Andrews, it's like 100-point fantasy point total difference. So the advantage of having one of those guys is huge. So, I don't know. Any questions, guys, on the tight ends? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think the most fascinating one on the list by far is the one we know nothing about, and that's the guy at number 5, Pitts.
I like him.
You know, if you want to just take a ride and take a risk, go Pitts, and you can get him way cheaper than probably Kittle or Hawkinson.
You don't think by the time drafts actually happen in a couple weeks, he'll shoot up and start going in crazy rounds? I think he will.
He needs a splash play in one of these preseason games.
It's all it takes, right? One catch and run.
I like Irv Smith more than Tanya and Gesicki. I think Irv Smith, we had on the show yesterday, the offense, with Kyle Rudolph gone, like, tight ends will be huge, and he's a more athletic tight end than Kyle Rudolph ever was. Irv Smith, I think, is going to be top 7.
Question, though. Loaded offense. You've got Thielen. You've got Justin Jefferson coming back. Obviously, the run game with Dalvin, you still think he can make waves?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's going to put up a lot of receiving yards, like a lot of action. He's almost like a receiver out there.
I just hope that defense is better so they don't have to put up so many points. Shawnee.
Okay, Robert Tonyan. I mean, he had a magical year last year, double-digit touchdowns.
He can get double-digit touchdowns again?
I just think if you're calling plays and you're in the red zone, you're going to let Aaron Rodgers throw the ball.
Yeah.
Isn't he going to throw it to Davante Adams to get him paid?
I think people might put the vice on Davante Adams and just say, look, we're going to give him the TO treatment.
I ask you, Kyle, what do you make of this? I had this flipped like 3 different times today. What do you think of this?
I think you have it right. I think you put Kittle way up there out of respect for George, and we like him, and he's a great player. I don't know if he's a great fantasy player. Awesome tight end, but I do not think he'll be a top 5 guy at the end of the year.
Do you like Waller here?
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah, he's got a good quarterback, right, Kyle?
I think I got it right, baby. Good. All right, I've got defenses for Top 5 Friday coming up. And up next, guys, Don Shula's 72 Dolphins have nothing on this preseason streak, Kyle.
Did you know that this weekend is the most important preseason game of all time? And that's not me being stupid. Ravens-Panthers has a chance to do something that has not been done since